So now that you have your domain purchased, the next thing you need to do is purchase an SSL certificate, or a Secure Sockets Layer certificate. And basically what an SSL certificate is it's a encrypted link between the server and the client, basically protecting the data when it gets transferred between the financial account and your website. You'll notice that when you go to a lot of sites, you'll see the HTTPS off of the HTTP. That basically means that this site has set up an SSL certificate. So that's what we're going to do now.
Yeah, and this is very important just to make sure that all your data is safe and secure. We are going to use GoDaddy to purchase the SSL certificate because that is what we use to purchase the domain name. Whatever service you used to purchase the domain name is what you will probably use to purchase the SSL certificate. So we're going to walk through the steps here, and you could have probably purchased this at the same time, so if you haven't got your domain name yet, you might be able to do this all in one step. But here at GoDaddy, we just went to the Ssl Certificates page and we click Getting Started. And we will go through the steps here. The first one is we only want to protect one website. And we're only going to be doing this for 1 year. And we are not going to add this extra security.
Again, with GoDaddy and some other services, you're going to find some add-ons. Make sure to read them. You know, some of them might apply to you. For us, we're going to keep it pretty basic.
So here you can see we have our standard SSL for 1 year for $69.99 plus some taxes. So we're going to go ahead and proceed to checkout. And we can then enter in our credit card information or use a saved credit card. We will just enter in a new credit card here. Once we have our credit card information entered in, we will click Place Your Order. But before we can actually place the order, it's going to tell you you need to agree to the terms of service. So go ahead and read that first, the whole thing, and then click Place Your Order. Once our order has been submitted, you can now start using your SSL certificate. And we're not quite to the point where we can use it yet, but we're going to at least take a look at it. So we're going to click on SSL Certificates down here at the bottom. And this should bring us to our account. You'll see there is an SSL Certificates section now in your account, which probably wasn't there before. And you can now click this Setup button down here. So you can select which credit you want to use, and you'll only be given the credit that you just purchased. So you click Setup. And now if you read this, it says it may take several minutes for your new product to become active. Then once it's ready, you'll be able to use the SSL Manager to start to manage your SSL certificates. So this is going to take a few minutes here, and then we will come back and continue on setting up this SSL certificate. Okay, so now if you refresh the page after a few minutes, you should see that a new certificate is set up here in your SSL Certificates section. And we're going to go ahead and click this Launch button. And here it should say we have a new certificate, and we're going to go ahead and click Setup. If you have other certificates from the past, they will show up in that section as well. So we have to go ahead and figure out how to generate our own certificate signing request. If we were hosting with GoDaddy, this process would be a little simpler. But in this case, we need to come up with our own certificate signing request, or CSR. There's a tool that will help you get started, and you can get there by going to www.gigicert.com/easy-csr/openssl.htm. And you're then going to need to fill in the certificate details section. So in this case, we're using store.codekarate.com. If you are just using a normal domain, you probably need to put www there, because it doesn't like you using just the blank domain without something in front. The organization, city, state, and country, and then key size. And this is just going to give you a command. And this command is something you will be able to run in a command line or terminal window. If you are using Mac or Linux, this is going to be easy. You can just open a terminal window up and paste it in. If you are using Windows, you're going to need to download a tool called Cygwin. And so I'll walk through just where you'd get that. And basically what this allows you to do is it allows you to use some Linux or Mac style commands on Windows. So you want to go to the Install Cygwin section, and you'll be able to grab this setup.exe. And it's a pretty simple install process. It will walk you through the install of Cygwin. And you should be able to select most of the defaults. And once you're able to get through that install, you'll be able to open the Cygwin program and paste this command into Cygwin.
And one thing too is if you have any issues with that, we're going to provide a couple links on some other videos out there on YouTube that take you through installing Cygwin. So make sure to check the notes on this.
So we're going to assume that you already have that installed. If you don't, go ahead and stop now and look at those notes and follow through the install if you are using Windows. If you're using Mac or Linux, no worries, you should be able to just follow right along. So we're going to copy this command, and the reason you need to run this on your own computer is because it's going to give you two files. It's going to create a .csr file, and it should also create a .key file that is going to be able to authenticate yourself with the actual GoDaddy service when you're trying to set up your Ssl certificate. So we're going to go ahead and open up our terminal window, and this is what mine looks like. So I'm just going to paste this command in. You can see it comes in there just like it looks over in the window, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And now it'll say it's generating a RSA private key. So it wrote the private key, and it now should have created that CSR file as well. So after this creates the key, you can probably check your home folder, and that's where it will most likely be. But if you're not sure where these would have been saved to, you can use the pwd command, and that should tell you the path. In this case, it's /home/Shane. And I went ahead and I already moved these to a separate folder, so I have them. But it should look like something like this: storecodekarateCom.csr and storecodekarateCom.key. And these are the two files you're going to need to go ahead and move forward. So what you're going to need to do now is open up this .csr file, and you should be able to open this up with some kind of text editor or notepad if you're using Windows. And you're just going to want to copy this certificate request. And once you copy that, you should be able to go back to GoDaddy and paste this in, and click the checkbox to I agree, and now select Request Certificate. And now it's going to go ahead and take a little bit of time. This is going to verify that you own the domain, which, assuming you're using the same service that you used to purchase the domain, in this case we used GoDaddy, then you shouldn't have any issues with this verification process. If there is an issue, it's going to ask you to manually confirm that you own the domain, and it will give you a few steps in order to actually do that. So after a little bit, you should be able to refresh the page, and you should see something like this, where there is a download link or a manage link, and this is the page that you need to be on. We're not going to actually go through the downloading portion of it just yet, but just make sure you have this page opened, and after we go through some of the various tools in Pantheon and upgrade your Pantheon account, then we will need to open this page back up and go from there.